What's going on, guys? This is Bradley alongside Zach, and you are listening to the Charm City Sideline podcast. Feel free to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Ravens content, 12 months a year. Another quick announcement, we will be live for the first round of the NFL Draft here on YouTube from probably 7:45 Eastern, and we'll go through the 30-second pick. So that would be really fun, and we love all of you to join us there. 6 days away now, which is crazy. This is our final draft video that's not a mock draft. So we'll have a few live episodes next week doing some mock drafts, but this is our last video. A ton of draft coverage. My document of draft coverage, Zach, is now to about 30 pages of write-ups and reports on players. And as you see on the top of your screen, this is sort of, we just wanted to talk about everyone that we haven't talked about yet. Because we've done, D-line, O-line, all the positions of need. But there's other guys that the Ravens maybe could draft. And we wanted to make sure we talk about everyone that could possibly be a pick on Thursday night. So I guess, Zach, you can take it away with the first guy.
Yeah, our first one that we had is linebacker. Jihaad Campbell of Alabama. He's supposed to go around the 19th pick range. And it's a guy that when you watch him, it's a lightning strike of attack speed as a linebacker. And in the instincts of a guy to go in the first round, it matches what, we would have been oohing and ahhing over in our year of wanting either Queen or Kenneth Murray. So it's a perfect guy where I saw a good mix of raw talent and proven ability, even for a player who's only played the position full time for 2 seasons. So it's so much room to grow and already such amazing instincts in I always call it creating havoc and creating chaos, because he's deflecting passes. His height and his length is amazing, and he really just stuffs the stat sheet as a linebacker. And it's one of those names where, and especially looking at inside linebacker, you think about the Ravens and they have a meeting with a guy we'll talk about later. And if a linebacker were to fall, best player available, I don't think they're totally in love with something like Simpson, and you don't have any real depth behind him at the moment. They'll probably get someone. But given the need there, Campbell is such a superstar in the making if he ends up with the right team. And Ravens, in no doubt in my mind, could create a monster with him too.
Yeah, he's 6'3", 235. Just that classics. I mean, not classic because he's a specimen. Sideline to sideline, off-ball linebacker. Some people think he can do some pass rushing as well off the edge. He had... Okay, so his stats last year at Alabama: 119 tackles, 2 PBUs, a pick, 5 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles.
Holy crap.
So athletic, 98 percentile RAS score for linebackers, 4.52 at the combine, which that's faster than about half of receivers. PFF grades, 80 in coverage, 81 run defense, 76 pass defense. I think at his combine press conference, he was talking about how he loves being that guy in a Tampa 2 defense because quarterbacks don't realize how fast he is. I think that's really cool for a linebacker to enjoy being in coverage and possibly baiting a quarterback. He had labrum surgery in February. So that's a bit of a knock, but usually that's not much of an issue. It's not like an ACL or anything. It's just shoulder. Sometimes he can get caught behind blocks, can lose contain. I'd say his instincts do need to improve. Like you mentioned, it reminds me a lot of Trenton Simpson, actually. I think he's a bit better of a prospect coming out, but they're pretty similar players. But yeah, I like him a lot. He's probably not going to fall to the Ravens, but if he did fall to 27, I would not be mad at the pick.
Sure. Is this another name where we throw it in? I think we had one name for the corners, but is that a potential name where if the Ravens were feeling a little frisky and wanted to trade up,
Yeah.
name to watch, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, Jahdae Barron is who we were talking about. Like,
Yep.
if they get to the low 20s, you have 11 picks. Do you trade up to get a Jihaad Campbell or a Jahdae Barron, the corner from Texas? So we'll see. But he's probably more in the range of like a Bengals, Bucks in the late teens, but who knows? Extremely athletic player, chess piece on the defensive side of the ball. So now we'll flip to the offensive side. And this guy is probably not going to end up in a Ravens uniform, but we still want to talk about him because there is a slight chance.
There is a chance.
As everyone knows, the Ravens have Derrick Henry and Justice Hill and Keaton Mitchell and Rasheen Ali. But Omarion Hampton out of North Carolina, 6 feet tall, 221, do-it-all running back, over 1,500 rushing yards the past 2 seasons, 67 receptions over the last 2 seasons, 4.46 in the 40, 33 total touchdowns in the past 2 years, 5.9 yards per carry, super light on his feet. Just 1 fumble this year, and it wasn't even a lost fumble. UNC recovered it. As a receiver, 96 percentile in missed tackles forced.
Wow.
So really can do everything. I don't know what you think. I don't think he's that far off from Genty.
Oh, okay.
Like, I don't think there's a gap. I don't think there's that much of a gap.
Oh.
Like, I don't think Genty is like a Saquon prospect. I don't think Genty's like a Saquon level prospect.
But he's just a step behind him, though.
Yeah,
Would you
I'm
say
not
that?
saying they're
Okay.
the same on the same level.
I don't think they are either.
But I don't think Hampton is too much far behind him. In terms of Hampton, like, there's not that much negatives to say about him. I'd say one thing, and this is the difference in like going number 2 overall as a running back and maybe 15. I don't think he has a ton of like elusiveness. Like, you don't see him breaking people's ankles and things like that. And he does get caught from behind sometimes from like a corner or safety. That's one thing with Genty. I don't think Genty really gets caught at all. And I don't think Genty ran the 40 either. So it's hard to know his speed. But yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts on Hampton?
Well, you just see the stats, and he's incredibly productive. 3,500 rushing yards in his career, 6 yards a carry in 2024 and 2023. But like you had touched on, the biggest knack for me was really a cut ability, a second cut ability to be specific. He can really force missed tackles, but he couldn't make the next level superstar move that you would see really from, sadly, who we have to compare him to, a Saquon level prospect.
Yeah,
so
it's like,
another thing was kind of like vision. I think it was all really excelling in zone scheme stuff. And even with all that, if he can be in a scheme where he's constantly in those looks, his pass blocking was awesome, and his size just in general, he's a day 1 running back. It's just, does he fall somewhere even maybe later to a team that might need a 2 that's capable of bruising some guys up? But I mean, I don't know. I think that comparing Genty and him, like, Genty just seems like no matter what a top 10 pick, right? And
yeah, Genty's probably going to go top 10.
And Hampton, I just can't see, if another team right at 15 or 14 needed a running back, sure, he could go somewhere like that range. But if a team really needed one, I'm not sure they would go for him over another need because of the level of talent there is around that range. Like, I feel like Genty, you'd be willing to take a little earlier just to have him as your running back for the future. I feel like Hampton's a little more half and half on that kind of ability.
Yeah. Yeah, he'll probably, I think the lowest he could go is like the 20s. I think maybe like the Broncos or that last team that I think the Broncos are definitely taking him if he's there at 22 or wherever. Yeah, I think Hampton and Genty, I think both of them are going to be like first round picks in fantasy this year. You always see that with the rookie running backs.
That's pretty cool. That would be pretty fun.
Yeah. So if because this is why we're doing this episode, if he was there at 27, would you take him? And I mean, I'm assuming that's a no. Would you be mad if the Ravens took him at 27?
I would be mad. Yeah,
you would be mad. I don't think I don't think I would be mad.
Really?
Oof. That'd be so exciting. Hampton and Derrick Henry. Hampton and Derrick Henry.
But that kind of shoves Justice and Keaton to the side.
I mean,
like they're
yeah, kind of.
I mean, a first round running back. You're also saying, Derrick, have fun on your last dance this year. Like if we're not going to re-sign you for $15, $14 million the next year because of the running back market, it's not stupid to do given the running back market. But
yeah,
I would be pretty upset.
Yeah, I think it'd be exciting to think about.
It is exciting, but
okay, so now to two other options that I think are a little bit more realistic than Hampton. Do you want to start with Burden or Egbuka?
Which did you like more?
I like Egbuka a lot more. Okay, so I have a strong opinion on Emeka Egbuka. I'm assuming, I mean, everyone that's watching this is probably, big time draft people, and they probably all know who Emeka Egbuka is. I'll just say it now. He's my number one receiver in this class over McMillan and Golden and Burden.
Okay. I was about to say, I don't know who else. I thought you were saying like Travis.
But most people have him around like fourth. Yeah, not over Travis Hunter. Not over so he's 6'1", 202. So he's like really good size for a receiver.
Yeah.
Senior. 5-star recruit at high school. Played baseball, was an outfielder. I think that can help with tracking deep balls a lot. So this guy is an elite route runner, processor, hands, doesn't drop the ball, works back to throws. It's like in the best way possible. It's like a 30-year-old is playing college football. Like a 30-year-old receiver is like playing against 19 and 20-year-olds, like so aware. 86.2 career separation rate. Any negatives at all? He's just not like a Jamar Chase athlete. He can take some time to accelerate. I feel maybe average lateral quickness. Ohio State used him a lot as a slot guy, a lot of underneath stuff. 1,100 yards as a sophomore, injured a lot in 2023. Still could have probably been a first-round pick if he declared because of how good he was the year before.
Yeah.
But stayed in school, had 1,000 yards this year, won the Natty. I think he's very similar to JSN. I think he's very similar to Ayomanor St. Brown. He's taller, 3 inches taller than Ayomanor St. Brown. So on Egbuka, everyone talks about, high floor, low ceiling. I don't really understand that sentiment with him, and like everyone is saying that. How can a receiver, like, you'd probably say Ayomanor coming out, low ceiling. How does he have a low ceiling if he's a top 5 receiver? Like Cooper Kupp, not the most athletic guy. What did he have? The Triple Crown. So like, I don't think you can put ceilings on receivers. And I'm like, if you're drafting a receiver in the first round and you're extremely confident that he's going to be good, okay, maybe he won't be the most athletic guy in the NFL. That's an easy pick to me. I think it's a home run. I think he should be a top 15 pick.
Wow. I think I forgot the website that we've been using, but seeing the mock drafts like kind of give him his range, it's around 33 right now. Like I think some people are seeing him slide, and I think that's pretty crazy. I wanted to note this. It was my top one just because I wanted to talk about it. He's given the tag of draft fatigue by PFF. Like his name has been around for so long. He's been contributing to Ohio State for so long, and he's a perfect slot guy. He can catch in traffic. I kind of saw a little bit of Bateman in him, and I love that you said JSN. I thought that was a great comparison.
Mm-hmm.
And what I see in him is more of a perfect, the ideal wide receiver too. It's what I love JSN, but I think of him as the same way. I don't think he's the 10, 12 targets a game kind of guy, but he can do it if he's in the right offense. So if he's going to go to a team that is just launching that ball constantly, a Cowboys, something like that, where they're going to abuse him almost in passing, then he can absolutely be an elite wide receiver, 100%. I am personally higher on Burden, but I think Egbuka is like the prototypical wide receiver in a round 1 draft. And I think like I don't think you can really go wrong with this pick. It just seems so you're getting a round 1 wide receiver and in the right offense with the right guys, hopefully with more help around him. I don't think he would be amazing as a 1 starting out, but I think as a 2, he would soar.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's like, in terms of, let's say you're doing like a fantasy football draft for your fantasy team. I sort of think about it like, let's say I have the 7th overall pick. I want to take a guy who I know is going to be good all year. Like I'm not really like taking the risk on a fantasy draft pick early on. With the NFL draft, it's like, you know this guy's going to be a good player, so why are you not taking him? Like, why would you take a risk on someone else? I was watching Mina Kimes' podcast, and she had Ben Solak on. Excuse me. And they were talking about Egbuka's possible NFL team fits. And they were like, what about the Ravens? And I think Solak was like, they have like Flowers, Bateman, likely, probably Andrews. Mina Kimes was like, and I kind of agree with this. I don't know if you do as well. She was like, has Lamar ever had a receiver that does exactly what he's supposed to do and never drops the ball? And that tells you what type of receiver Emeka Egbuka is. Like, he's a veteran and a 22-year-old. And I mean, I would not be mad.
I don't think I would either. I think wide receiver is kind of the start of feeling, okay, let's get more offensive weapons. So be it. Like where's the negative in that? Only getting, I guess, a more crowded room. But like comparing it to running back, I want to give Henry his flowers. So
yeah, I agree.
And I want to let I think the skill position as in wide receiver is something that can always be upgraded, even given, contracts here in the next few years too.
Yeah, because one last thing before Burden, the Bills divisional game, final drive, it's Tylan Wallace, Steven Sims, and Anthony Miller.
Yeah.
So same with DB. You can't have too many receivers, I don't think.
Yeah. Next guy has a peak of being drafted as high as 11. I love Luther Burden. I went in very skeptical. I've seen lots of Ravens Twitter fans kind of banging the drum for this guy. And I'm like, I don't love the idea of wide receiver, but I would definitely take it. Burden was the guy that seems like he is another Debo do-it-all type of role in an offense. And to have that with the Ravens sounded pretty fun. He's supposed to go around the 35 pick range, but he can go, like I said, as high as 11. Like some team might be super high on him. He had an incredible 1,200-yard, 9-touchdown 2023 year. He did take a step back in production in 2024. That might just mean because of his, elite ability and knowing him as another year goes on. But he was a really good motion guy, a lot of contested catches. His percentage for that was above 50%, both 2023 and 2024. He took hard hits, bounced off of them. He's slippery too. It just seems like if a team can be very high on him, and a team could also have him ranked lower, just given you don't need a do-it-all wide receiver. It only really makes your offense that much scarier. So it seemed like a possible Ravens fit because adding in a guy that was taking snaps out of the backfield, I'm getting like all excited. I'm like, whoa, Luther Burden. and a big play guy. It felt like watching a superstar wide receiver. I won't lie.
Yeah, 4.41 at the combine. Yards after catch is his best trait, in my opinion. I think he could definitely work on route running, but like when the ball's in his hands, I mean, people are struggling to tackle him. Similar size to Egbuka, 6 foot 206. So these guys are like built receivers. Not like tall and skinny. Yeah, he had over 1,200 yards in 23 and just over 600 this past season. I saw in a report somewhere an NFC scout said, I think he got bored with that offense.
I know. I think I saw some note of it being an issue with Missouri, and
I think there's a little bit of James Pierce in Luther Burden that I've seen in terms of the coachability and things like that.
Yeah. That might be given the 2024 year and taking a step back too, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, you really covered it. I like Egbuka more. I think I'm in sort of a position where like I would be fine with Egbuka at 27. I don't think I would love Burden at 27. Just because of the receiver that Egbuka is, I think adds something that the Ravens low key don't have right now. And I don't know that Burden does that.
You think that? Okay, like I see what you mean because Egbuka does all the stuff right. He's like the wide receiver.
Yeah.
Ohio State, they grow him well, and Burden's a little more chancy. Like if he goes to like a freaking Chiefs, he's gonna be, you know, a level better than what they were making someone like Kadarius Toney. He just retired, but like some team can make him into a superstar. Like if the Niners needed wide receiver, like they're just getting a brand new Debo at that point for a Burden. And it's really fun to compare the two because they're honestly so different in the fact that Egbuka is such a bona fide NFL wide receiver, and Burden, you take a little more chance. Like you said, like someone like Pierce.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Burden definitely has a lower floor than Egbuka. Like, there is like bust potential there with Burden, but like you said, top 5 receiver 2 years from now, I wouldn't be that surprised. So yeah, I still think of Burden as like late first round guy. I still like him a lot. I just think of Egbuka as like, why is he not being taken in the mid first?
Yeah. Draft fatigue. I really think that's like I love seeing that.
I like that you said that.
Like that is such a good way to put it for him because how can you just keep overlooking a guy like that? I know that Ted is, all that in a bag of chips, but I mean, I think taking again Egbuka as in the lower or a higher ceiling guy, doesn't it seem like Ted is also a guy that has a lower ceiling or lower floor? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it kind of matches up. But let's get into some day 2 guys.
Yeah.
I want to start with my linebacker prospect from UCLA, Carson Schwesinger. He had a visit with the Ravens. Kind of made Ravens Twitter a little fired up, a little upset, given it's a linebacker and all. So it's not as fun. But the nickname Captain America, I freaking love that. He's a lighter Mike or Will linebacker. He's really quick in decision making. I found this a really fascinating note. His weight before the year, 225. At the combine, 242. Like he is bulked up. Super dynamic in pass coverage. He's super light on his feet. I think as in a pass coverage guy, he was just as impressive as watching something like Campbell because he was so light on his feet. He is everywhere on the field. He is just not as powerful and quick as in stopping the run. There's not I wish I had a good word for it. There's not a real instinct to go and attack on run rather than staying high in pass coverage. So as in a second round talent guy, I thought of Schwesinger as the perfect complement to someone like Roquan, as in a pass coverage guy rather than someone, trying to stop the run as much. So Ravens doing their due diligence. I was kind of happy to hear that. I think that's it's a fun match it's a surprising match, but it's a fun match. I think it would work. I think that his range is around pick 48. So maybe
on
a
consensus
move.
boards.
Yeah. So maybe moving up. Maybe he's a slip and they take him. It depends, honestly, how something like a meeting goes with a guy like that, because we've mentioned it before. All their meetings being with guys that aren't really first round talent guys.
Yeah.
They're doing so much work on guys that have kind of gone under the radar, and I think Schwesinger is one of those guys.
Yeah. And just to clarify for everyone listening, Zach and I sort of brought our own guys into this. So like I don't know a ton about Zach's guys, and he doesn't know a ton about the guys I'm going to talk about. But imagine the Ravens fan base if the Ravens trade up for an inside linebacker in the second round. Like that would be hilarious. So
Do you think the fan base would be mad about something like that?
yes.
Really?
If the Ravens traded up in the second round for a middle linebacker,
It doesn't seem like that big of a jump, though. Like, you might not have to give up too much.
Yeah, but I think Ravens Twitter would be in shambles.
But I think it shows that the Ravens aren't that confident in someone like Simpson, but I think they are.
If they do
It
it,
sounded
yeah.
like they are. Yeah.
Yeah. So the day 2 linebacker that I decided to watch, Demetrius Knight out of South Carolina, probably going to be a third round pick, maybe a second. PFF has him at 33 on their big board. He's 68 on consensus big board. I'd probably like him even a little less than that. I see him as more of a third rounder. 60-year senior, 6'2", 235. He played 4 years at Georgia Tech, then transferred to Charlotte, then transferred to South Carolina for his final year. Played quarterback in high school. He was talking about how he uses his old quarterback IQ to mess with quarterbacks in games, which I thought was cool. And it helps him sort of dissect route patterns and have more awareness in the passing game. He's a tall linebacker who plays his role. I think a very positive thing for Demetrius Knight is he's almost always where he's supposed to be. Good in rushing lanes, natural instincts as a blitzer as well. Some negatives for him. I don't see elite burst or quickness. He does have very nice straight line speed, but you don't see that crazy athleticism that you see in a Jihaad Campbell or even a Trenton Simpson. Probably not going to be able to cover like a running back man-to-man or a tight end in the NFL. Lots of special teams experience. 4.58 at the combine, like I said. Fast as in a straight line. He got an angle on Milrow one time when Milrow was rolling out and took him down pretty easily. 82 tackles, 2 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, and a pick this past season. I don't think I would love him at 59, but if he had some crazy fall and was there in the third round, I think it'd be a nice pick.
Yeah, and that's okay. Like, hearing that he was a third round kind of, or fringe second to third kind of guy,
Yeah.
Makes me a little nervous because I think someone like Schwesinger is kind of 2, where it's fringe,
middle
of the second round. So
yeah,
it's about the Ravens really liking a guy, like wanting a linebacker or not, because these guys wouldn't scream Ravens pick unless they were to move up. I hope that they do kind of act like that this draft, given, too many picks, almost
11 picks.
So
yeah,
hope that something happens with it.
And your guy Schwesinger, he's been in the late first in some mock drafts that I've seen too.
Really? I didn't notice this peak. Dang it. Shoot. I didn't see that.
I've just seen a couple mock drafts where he's like 31 or he's like going to the Rams at 26 or whatever.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, but
he's talented for sure.
He'll probably be more of a second rounder. So those are our 2 day 2 linebackers. What else did we have? We both had a receiver to talk about, right?
Yeah. Do you want to do yours first real quick?
Yeah. So I watched Savion Williams out of TCU. He's probably going to be a third round guy. Maybe we'll fall to day 3. 5th-year senior. 6'4", 222, 32.5-inch arms. When you think of a 6'4" receiver, you're probably not going to think of the type of player that Savion Williams is. He lines up at running back a lot. He plays a lot like the Niners used to use Deebo Samuel a few years ago. Played quarterback in high school. When I first started watching him, I heard an announcer say, he hasn't attempted a pass yet today, And I was like, what? I was like, who is this guy?
What?
4.48 at the combine. Okay, so Savion Williams, very fast for his size. 4.48, 6'4", 222, big guy. He plays running back. He plays wide receiver. He plays some quarterback for TCU. His 2024 stats, okay. 60 catches, 600 receiving yards, 6 receiving touchdowns, 51 carries, 322 yards, 6 rushing touchdowns, 3 for 3 passing, 22 yards, and a passing touchdown.
What? Who is this guy? What the heck? Swiss Army knife? Are you kidding me? What college did you say he's from again?
TCU.
TCU.
So the reason he's not going to go super high is because he's, what is the saying? Master of none, something, I don't know.
He's almost doing too much.
He's almost doing too much right now.
At such a good level.
Basically, he's a jack of all trades, master of none. I know there's a better saying for that. I can't. My mind is blank for some reason. Could use a lot of work on route running. Doesn't have a very expansive route tree. Doesn't have great ball tracking abilities. Can drop some passes. But man, this guy would be fun. Could definitely be like a kick return guy with these new rules in the NFL. Just get the ball in his hands. Like, give him a few carries, throw a few screens to him, maybe have him run a few deep routes. I mean, he's 6'4". Todd McShay was talking about him a little bit, and he said Cordarrelle Patterson reincarnated, which I definitely agree with.
Wow.
Cordarrelle Patterson is 6'3". This guy's 6'4", so pretty similar in size. They both have those long dreads. They look similar on the field.
Really? Oh my gosh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So this is a really cool player that if the Ravens were to take him at 91, I think it'd be a pretty cool pick.
Mm-hmm. A guy who's really just a day 2 guy in general. He has a peak of being picked as high as 46 and around a pick 70 range. Elic Ayomanor from Stanford, wide receiver. 6'2", he's strong, he's built, but he is an A+ blocking wide receiver. 517 run blocks, 0 penalties in 2023 and 2024. And what stands out is his release game. Every note that you can find on this guy is that his bag against press or man that's close whatsoever is that he has them shook. Like it is I think that's always a massive plus really in a wide receiver. Having the release game gives you the ability to improve at everything else so much more, because if you're creating any separation at the beginning, it leads to being open and all. His IQ with blocking and releases alone make him just interesting for me, because I think that that sounds Ravenish. He's 6'2". He's not amazing at contested situations, but he's big enough to where if he gets that NFL strength, he can be. So given that he's like, I love watching a wide receiver get open with release. So I was in love, just like he wasn't even making these plays. Some of these highlights and different tapes and stuff like that were just him like making his move and then getting open. Yeah. Like he has a bag on him, but maybe he just needs a good wide receiver, good quarterback, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
I was super impressed. As in a blocker, being one of the best, if not the best technically in the class. That's impressive.
How tall did you say he was?
6'2".
6'2". Nice.
Not anything crazy, but
is that a round 3?
It would be. Although I do love mentioning the
2.
peak, because it was around pick 70 is what I said, but has a peak of 46. Like some team might be willing to take the chance on him earlier in the second.
Interesting. How would you feel, these guys we've talked about, and there's a few other guys, Kyle Williams, Jalen Noel. How would you feel if they took a receiver at 59 or 91?
I think it's about the right guy. Like, if it's Ayomanor, like that's fine. I would be happy with that.
Yeah.
I've been sold on him. But I think there's a bunch of guys that in the second round specifically is when people that are freak athletes but are missing some of their tools go. And that's kind of like he didn't remind me of a DK. The next guy I want to talk about kind of did, but he reminds you of a very raw guy, as in a guy that can take the next step as a wide receiver. So taking a risk on him in the second doesn't sound ridiculous.
Yeah.
But if he can keep falling, I would 100% for a third round pick want the Ravens to take someone like that. I mean, third round guy that has second round potential at least. That sounds good to me.
Yeah. And EDC talked about how they still haven't been able to find that X receiver.
Yeah.
So maybe you take a shot on a guy a bit later in the draft. So moving on to day 3, rounds 4 through 7.
Mm-hmm.
I know Zach isn't very fond of the Ravens adding a running back to this already crowded room.
Yeah. I mean, I like it. I didn't do too much research on it. So I mean,
Yeah.
It's hard to always watch the late round running backs and
Yeah.
because they're, especially with this class, they're kind of big names, but
Yeah. There's
just later on.
and the reason I think the Ravens should take a running back with one of their 4 6th round picks or their 5th round pick. This class is so deep, and you can get a good player in the 6th round.
Yeah.
So I think why not?
Mm-hmm.
So this guy, Raheem Sanders, but similar to how Marquise Brown goes by Hollywood Brown and no one even says Marquise, this guy goes by Rocket. So Rocket Sanders,
Oh, good name.
out of South Carolina, senior, 6 foot, 217. So I feel like the one thing the Ravens are missing in the running back room to make it a perfect running back room is if Derrick Henry's banged up, injured, tired, whatever, there's not a guy who's just like a between the tackles runner. It's Hill, Keaton Mitchell, and Ali.
Yeah.
So I would feel a bit better if they have another guy like that on the roster. And this is that guy. He's a power back. 3 years at Arkansas, 1 year at South Carolina, his senior year. As a sophomore at Arkansas, he had 1,400 rushing yards. And then in his junior year, he missed a bunch of time with a bunch of injuries, knee, shoulder, and he transferred to South Carolina. And there he had 881 rushing yards, 11 touchdowns. And you look at this guy and you probably wouldn't think he's a great receiver, but 27 catches, 316 receiving yards, and 2 touchdowns. Not great acceleration for his size. I mean, for his size, just not great acceleration. You wouldn't expect this guy to be like that. Doesn't always use his power as much as I'd like. Sometimes he's like 8 yards away from a safety in the open field and he jukes. I'm like, that guy does not want to tackle you. Just run at him.
Go over him. Yeah. I like that.
And he could improve a lot in pass pro. But so acceleration isn't really there. Straight line speed is. And for a guy his size, you're like, how is he moving like that? 76-yard touchdown run when he was at Arkansas, 66-yard touchdown for South Carolina this year. So he can outrun some safeties even with how big he is.
Wow.
Pretty good at reading rushing lanes, things like that. But yeah, this guy's probably going to be a 5th or a 6th rounder. And I would love for the Ravens to add another guy who can run the ball between the tackles at a high clip in case something ever does happen to Derrick Henry. Maybe he's out for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that. And you don't want to have to rely on Justice Hill and Keaton Mitchell to pick up, 3rd and 1s on power. So,
and that's funny. Whenever we had in the press conference earlier this week with DeCosta, they brought up, I don't remember the year specifically, but the year that we lost Gus and JK and everyone was going down with injuries all within basically a week. So they had to go call all these free agents and just the running back situation in general. They're like, yeah, that was like one of the biggest nightmares the organization's ever had because we were calling every free agent you can. So I love the idea of taking care and getting a running back that's not necessarily the elusive kind in this draft. And I think that even if he's a running back 4, that's absolutely okay because in a nightmare situation where Henry goes down, I think that you are missing by a lot the strength needed, like you mentioned, in between the tackles. I love that kind of a pick for the Ravens. So I think I'm going to talk about. I have to pick which one. I want to talk about Dante Thornton, Tennessee wide receiver.
Okay.
He has a peak of being drafted around 136, but his range is around 176. So obviously a later guy, but definitely a selection. He was mocked to the Ravens, I think even in the 3rd round. When was it? Bleacher Report? This last Bleacher Report mock. and I had to do my work on him. 6'5".
6'5".
6'5". His second 40-yard dash was a 4.3.
Flat?
I don't know. That's all the information I could get. So I'm guessing it's not flat, but
yeah.
Wow, does just those traits in general
Yeah,
being
what the heck?
speedster and 6'5", that screams Ravens late round wide receiver selection. The issue with him is that he was almost exclusively a big play downfield vertical kind of guy. So there was almost no route running ability, but if he got going, like there was no chance you're stopping him. He was always running like these same kind of corner routes. I mean, it was so funny that all of the basically all the touchdowns were almost the same play if you go look them up. But it just seems like a kind of fun match. You get a freak in size and hopefully a downfield threat. I don't remember how tall someone like Boykin was. Was he like 6'3"?
6'3" or 6'4".
It gives his kind of vibe where it's like a Walgreens kind of version of a go up and get it kind of guy. But given 6'5" and 4.3, someone is going to take the chance on him, I think, a little earlier because he fits a wide receiver 3-4-5 bill 110%. So Dante Thornton, I guess, a name to watch out for the Ravens because everything about him screams a very fun pick for a Ravens offense.
That would be pretty cool.
I did a double take whenever you were like 6'5". I did a double take. By the way, I looked him up because I just saw him on the mock, and as soon as I had seen some profile on him, I'm like, oh, 6'5". 6'5". I'm like, dude, what the heck?
6'5" running a 4.3 is pretty crazy.
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
I'm gonna talk about Nick Martin now, linebacker out of Oklahoma State.
Okay.
I wanted to save my receiver for last.
Sure.
Probably another guy 5th, maybe 6th round. And you never know. Some of these guys end up being undrafted free agents. They just fall through the cracks. Redshirt junior, 5'11" and a half. Exact height as your guy Bradley over here. So I was thinking when I saw his height, I was like, let's just call him 6 foot. Let's just call me 6 foot too. 221. Okay. So in 2023, this is honestly another kind of guy where like some outlets or whatever have him listed as an edge, but I see him more as an interior linebacker. He's like a 6th round version of Jalen Walker.
Okay.
You're selling me. Yeah. 2023, 140 tackles, 6 sacks, 2 picks. This guy, I mean, he's so explosive. Season was cut short due to a knee injury in 2024, but he did participate in the combine, so I think he'll be good. 2-year starter at linebacker. The reason he's going lower is 1, he's not even 6 foot. Definitely misreads some plays, and misses too many tackles in space, and you could just get better in the mental side of the game, combined with just not being, a 6'2", 6'3" classic middle linebacker. Super twitchy, like I said. A lot of pass rush capabilities, so explosive, running through the A gap, or even rushing off the edge. Mike Gundy, I believe, the Oklahoma State head coach, said he's an old school player that doesn't care about social media or anything like that, and he loves football more than most players. I think this would be an awesome guy to take in the 5th or the 6th round. Could probably be a great special teamer and maybe could fill in if an injury happens as well. Just a freak athlete that's makes a lot of plays.
Yeah. And I'll match you with a linebacker pick here.
Uh-huh.
I've never seen so many people be honestly mean about a guy's size more than
What
I have
do you mean?
about Jay Higgins of Iowa. I could not believe he has a peak of 112, around pick 191. I could like watching some. I like watching some guys kind of talk about him just to see maybe a media's perspective of him too. And this guy I'd never watched before on him. And he's like, yeah, I mean, this guy is small. He's not lengthy. He doesn't have good speed. But everything about his production says, shut up. It doesn't matter. 5 interceptions, 300 tackles in 2 years, and one of PFF's highest graded coverage players and overall grades, among the best in college football. So the big question is, can the intangibles make Higgins a competent linebacker in the league, or do the tangibles make him just kind of a complete under the radar guy? Like, it's a definition of a guy that you want to freaking root for. A lot of people just kind of see him as a depth piece and special teams guy, but if you just look at the stats, he's proven he's. I mean, I could not believe no one had more things meaner to say about Higgins than really, I guess, all of YouTube whenever I was watching it, because, oh my gosh, they were lighting him up for it. I don't notice something like that whenever I'm watching him on tape. So he wasn't making the best reads ever, but especially in coverage is what I thought. But his grade says, again, shut up. If you care about that kind of thing as much as I do. So I don't know. I think Higgins a sleeper pick, a sleeper guy.
So is that probably another like 5th or 6th round?
Yes.
Type of guy?
Yeah.
Maybe 7th?
Whenever we had the mock, I think I might have took him, or someone did. Someone did at one point. But he was a later pick for sure, 5 or 6.
Yeah, 224 for a linebacker is.
Yeah, it was all really against him in that way, besides the production. So
okay, so we just have one more guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
My last. Okay, so my receiver, my day 3 receiver, Lajohntay Wester out of Colorado. They had a crowded room. They had Jimmy Horn Jr., Will Shepard, Wester, one other guy I can't remember. Travis Hunter.
Oh, I thought you said him already. I was like,
no. I was like, who am I forgetting? Wester is 5'10", 163. So very, very small. 5th-year senior. Ran a 4.46 at the combine, so not as fast as you'd hope for someone who's 160. Had a lot of drop problems in 2023, but was better this past season. So 4 years at FAU, Florida Atlantic, transferred to Colorado for his senior year. He had 2,700 receiving yards in 4 years at FAU. Decided to transfer Colorado to go play with Shedeur. Someone asked him at the combine, like, why did you decide to transfer to Colorado when you're easily having 1,000 yards a year at FAU? And he basically just talked about how, he likes the competition. He likes being part of a crowded room where you can sort of play your role. And he kind of wanted to prove that he could do that. The reason I'm talking about this guy is not because of him and his capabilities as a receiver, but he's a really good punt returner. 68 career punt returns, 11 yards per return, 49 missed tackles forced, and 2 touchdowns. He had a long punt return against Utah, I believe, this past season for Colorado. As a receiver, 74 receptions, 931 yards, 10 touchdowns. So I think could end up being like a solid slot guy. But in my opinion, the Ravens don't have a punt returner on the roster. And I know a lot of fans think Tylan Wallace can be the guy. If he didn't have that return, which granted, one of the best plays you will ever see, the return against the Rams in overtime, like that's kind of all he has in terms of like there's a reason they had a punt returning issue last year is because they tried Tylan Wallace and a lot of times just not catching the ball, muffed a few, and they had an issue all last season, and they haven't signed anyone else to fill that role. So we'll see if they draft someone later. This guy's probably going to be a 6th round pick, maybe a 7th.
Wow.
And you could, fill in that punt returner role, in my opinion, and could be a solid receiver if you unfortunately deal with a few injuries as well.
I think that – I'm so sorry. You go ahead.
I was going to say, and like he's a guy that isn't going to care about targets because he was in a room with 3 other NFL players.
He's experienced it, yeah. I keep going back to the press conference because I'm trying to get in the mindset of Harbaugh and DaCosta.
Mm-hmm.
The funniest probably moment of the whole thing was someone asking DaCosta about a returner, and Harbaugh answered. He's like, "I do. I want a returner. I hope he drafts a returner."
Really?
He put his hand. He's like, I hope so.
I didn't even see that.
And then I think and also not even to mention that, probably the best thing about the whole situation was said by DaCosta. He says, "We have a floor at the return position.
Yeah,
we have a floor. We
I don't
want
know
a
if there
high
is a
ceiling."
floor.
He said, "We want a high ceiling." So I think they are definitely looking at that. Whenever someone else asked them about really a special teams ability, he always made like a metaphor to like buckets, like a next level of a bucket, really, as in a good special teams / returning ability moves them and from bucket B to bucket A. Like they are so adamant about that. Talked about special teams coach Thornton and everything, and really getting his opinion on from kickers all the way to returners. He said he ranked every returner from first to worst, and I love the intenseness around that question, because if you're asking DaCosta and Harbaugh's like, "Yeah, I'll take one. I want one. I do." Like that was the best answer of the entire conference. I love that that mindset towards getting one.
I like that you brought that up, and I would almost disagree with EDC a little. I don't think there is a floor. A punt returner that isn't catching the ball, is that a floor? Like
that is the floor. There's, I mean,
like last year, there was such an issue with like catch the ball at the 18. They don't catch it, and we have the ball at the 2. Like that happened so many times.
But you can see where floor is not a good thing. I don't think you want to be said that. I don't think you want to be in the discussion
have a low floor
of a group that says we have the floor right now.
Yeah.
It could definitely have a higher ceiling. So it sounded like Harbaugh was also going to be banging a drum in that draft room to get one, which is awesome. There's a big fan.
Yeah. There's a few corners too in this draft and on day 3 that
I think you mentioned that
as well.
Yeah.
So that's one of my hopes for day 3. Get a punt returner.
I got to make that note for the mock. I got to find one. That's got to happen.
There's a lot of guys. Yeah, that's all we had, right?
I think that's all the names I got.
Man, our last draft episode is complete.
I'm so excited for the mocks though. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, once again as a reminder, we will be live for the first round.
The whole thing.
Thursday night, the whole entire thing. Even if the Ravens don't pick anyone.
Yep, you're right. Yep.
Maybe if the Ravens do trade out, maybe we'll go live for their pick in the second round. Maybe.
Just that,
because they'd be picking
the reaction.
Like 35 or something.
Yeah.
So that could
it'd be quick. You're right.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's good.
But yeah, like and subscribe. Like the video. Subscribe if you haven't already. Ravens content, 12 months a year. I think I got all of it. Spotify link in the description. And yeah, we're gonna be very active next week. So
can we give them a little plan? Like, can we put that in there?
Yeah.
Monday, mock draft, of course. Mock draft Monday. Final one. Wednesday, we're doing a full first round mock. Dawson mentioned it last week. And then Thursday, we're live for the entire draft.
Right.
Like, that is going to be pretty sweet. And I think Friday and Saturday we'll have reactions live afterwards. So
yeah,
get ready. It's draft freaking week. Come on.
Yeah,
let's go.
It's gonna be fun. I'd say definitely best time of the NFL season besides the season.
yeah.
Best time of the year to be an NFL fan besides the actual season. But yeah, appreciate everyone for watching. Appreciate all the support, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.